Hi, everybody, and welcome to JoplinGlobe.com. I'm Bruce Vonder Haar. This is our weekly Take 10 segment. This is coming to you from the Jet 14 studios on the campus of Joplin High School. And with us this week for around the next 10 minutes is Joplin High School wrestling coach Shawn Finch. And first of all, Coach, appreciate you coming in today. Let's first of all talk about the season so far. We're a good way through the season already. It's kind of flown by pretty quick. Talk about the season as a whole. Let's start with your record, and then let's just go your impressions of the season so far.
Okay. As a team, we're 11-5 currently as a dual team. We always split the season up into three parts: the part before Christmas, the part after Christmas, and then districts and state. So, the first part of the season was really well. We won the Miami tournament, went undefeated as a team there, 8-0, and beat Grove, the defending state champions in Oklahoma, in the final. And then we ran into some sickness and injury, and we struggled a little bit for the past couple weeks, but we've gotten everybody back, and we actually did very well at the Columbia-Hickman tournament, placed in, 5th there, had two champions, Miles Koppel and Caleb Friend, and like I said, we get everybody back this weekend, and hopefully we do well this weekend at Blue Springs South, and it's important just to get it rolling right before for districts.
We'll talk about sickness and injury, because people think of wrestling as an individual sport, but when somebody gets hurt or sick, or that really affects the team. Explain how that happens.
Yeah, well, we try to explain to our JV kids and our varsity kids too. Everybody plays a part in the success of everybody that wrestles. You got to have good practice partners. They need to be there to work out with you every day. And if you have a team with 10 or 12 kids only, some kids go without a good practice partner, and it's hard to get better if you don't have somebody to push you. And like I said, we only have 14 varsity guys, but the other 30 kids in our room all play a part in their success. So we try to get everybody to understand that. Talk
about some of the on the varsity level, some of the kids that have kind of stood out this year, and they're on their way to having some pretty good seasons.
Yeah, we've had several. I thought going in this year it would be a good season. We have 7 seniors, and so they've really led the team very well and performed well. Miles Koppel is 28-2. Yeah. He's lost to the national champion from Tulsa Union, and he lost to a defending state champion from Platte County in a 1-point match. So he's had an outstanding year. Caleb Friend just won the Hickman tournament, as I said, and he's at this point 19-8. So he's done pretty well this season. Bryson Miner, returning state qualifiers, 23-7. Austin Carnes, returning state qualifiers, 16-8 right now. And then we have a couple other seniors, Brian White, who's doing well, and Tyler Fortson as well too. And
what specifically makes these guys so good, and makes a good wrestler? I mean, obviously there's a lot of things. what kind of things stand out? And if somebody wants to become a really good amateur wrestler, what things and what qualities are they going to have?
Specifically, first of all, you have to be willing to work hard, because we put in 3 hours a day every day, for 3.5 months, and then there's the intangible things that come with any athletic event or athletic sport. That you got to be strong, you got to be quick, smart, agile, and then I say smart because you have to be able to react to situations and know where your body position is and have good body awareness. So there's lots of things. There's been good wrestlers that weren't very strong. There's been great wrestlers that were only strong. That it's just about like anything else. Each individual athlete is different, and that's part of the challenge and part of the fun of coaching them is finding out what's good for them and really teaching them how to do those things well, and then watch them have success.
Now, as a coach, is it difficult to figure out who's wrestling where as far as weight classes go? I mean, do you have a pretty good idea where the season starts? Okay, this guy's going to be here, and does that stuff change throughout the course of the season?
Yeah, certainly. It changes all the time. Just a few years ago, we had one of our varsity guys. He had been varsity all year. He got hurt right before districts, and at that point in time, that's when you start to think, okay, who's my best guy around that weight, and can he get to this next weight? And we end up pulling another guy down to his weight. He won our conference that year. He was JV all year, went into the conference tournament and won the tournament, and he goes on and doesn't qualify for state, but wrestles well, and you know, it always changes, and you never really know where they're going to be. Most of the time, the kids take care of it. You know, they practice with each other all spring and all summer and all fall, and so they know where they stand with each guy, and so they kind of say, okay, I'm going to go this way if he's going to be here, and they kind of take care of it. But we do have ranking matches to make it fair, and anybody can challenge anybody, and the winner's varsity.
That's very interesting. Okay, you talked about qualifying for state, and that's coming up real soon.
Yep.
It's coming up in February, and you'll have districts before then. Talk about how does one qualify for state? How does that all happen, and how do people eventually get to Columbia?
That's a great question. I don't know if many people know that answer.
I know,
There's 4 districts throughout the state. There's about approximately 12 to sometimes 14 teams per district. And you just have to place in top 4 of your district. Top 4 of your district goes to state, and you know, preferably you want to win your district, because that means you'll be facing a a guy who placed 4th in his district in the first round, and then theoretically, then the next round you'd wrestle a kid who placed 3rd or 2nd in theirs, and so it gives you a better draw. But you know, we want to get guys in. You can't win it if you're not in it. So so we try to get as many as possible in it, and go from there.
And you've had pretty good history of sending guys to state, haven't you?
So far, we've been pretty successful. You know, my first year here, we qualified 5, and then you know, that next year was 3, the next year was 2, then last year we qualified 4. So, you know, we're trying.
And how do you get this time of year, or any time really? How do you get you guys ready for state? Because obviously the competition is going to be much better, like in any sport, when you get to the end of the season. So, from where they are now, how do you get them ready to compete against the other best ones in the state?
Oh, well, you know, there's lots of theories. We like to, I go back to the basics for about a week or 2, and just really work on basics and conditioning, because a lot of times when you lose to those better guys, it's a breakdown of just positioning, or a breakdown of you know, I should have done this here, I should have done that there, and we want kids to be in the best condition, and also take care of positioning. So we kind of go back to the basics, and we kind of go over some game planning things of guys that we know we'll face, and what they're possible of and are capable of, and just kind of game plan them up.
You could really help them in practice, obviously, but you know, from watching wrestling meets, I'm always curious about how much coaching can you really do at a match, because you know, somebody's wrestling, you can yell at them and all that stuff and give them advice while they're wrestling, but really, do they hear you? You wonder that kind of stuff. So how much coaching does go on during a match?
A lot goes on between periods.
Okay.
I yell constantly, and my coaches yell constantly, but when I wrestled, you know, even in college, I couldn't hear my coach.
Exactly.
You're totally zoned in, focused in, and I think that's the way most kids are, but you can't help it. You got to yell something, and if they hear it, they hear it. If they don't, they don't. But you know, a lot of coaching goes on between the periods, and then before each match, you know, we kind of talk about different things we can do, and so much of it is just getting kids ready to go. If they're ready to go, then you know, if they've had enough experience and things like that, there's not much you have to do once it starts.
And I would think that in wrestling, maybe more than any other sport, the younger kids, the freshmen, the sophomore, the kids that aren't wrestling varsity, they can gain out of practice more than any other sport. And the reason I think that is because just by watching other guys who are successful, well, he did this, that works for him, maybe that'll work for me. And then wrestling those guys too, and obviously you're going to learn something. Somebody puts a move on you, hey, that's not a bad thing, not a bad idea there. So I'm sure practice is, it's important obviously in any sport, but wrestling, I'm sure it's just crucial.
And there's not a lot of, you know, that's one thing that's different than a lot of sports. There's not a lot of standing around and watching and things like that. It's everybody's in there going all the time, and you learn by doing. And if you don't, then it's not good.
Well, it's definitely exciting. You guys are coming into the crucial part of the schedule, so good luck to you and your guys coming up in districts and hopefully in the state as well.
Thank you.
Yeah, that's Shawn Finch, Joplin High School wrestling coach, as they are getting into the meat of their schedule. We wish them the best of luck. You're watching Take 10 on JoplinGlobe.com. I'm Bruce Vonder Haar. Thanks for watching. Thanks for logging on, and we'll see you again next week.